right, guys. Gonna start off here, just like I've had been for the past couple of videos, just to share with you guys where we're at already. So today was a winning trade day, which is great to see. You can see that on this account, we have about a 71% win rate right now, and we are just 550 some dollars or $560 away from getting funded. And so if we go into the calendar, take a look at it. This is the day for today. Definitely one of the higher profit days and compared to the past week here, but definitely not the highest if you take a look at the prior days as well. So again, took the same approach that I have been this entire time, setting my stop loss at 30 points, taking my trims along the way, right? Very binary approach to how I go about the market. And so, again, just wanted to share that for this time, the very minor difference, and you'll see later on in the video, is that I did move my stop loss for the last runner of the trade. And there are reasons for that, as I explained, based on market structure and all of that. But, anyways, hopefully this video adds more insights. But again, great to see where we're at right now. We're getting closer and closer to getting this account funded. It's awesome, man. Hey guys, it is Monday of the week here, and we are going to start our series here with the MNQ trading again. So far, it's been 10 minutes since the market has opened. I am going to patiently wait for some price to digest here first to see what we want to do. I think at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, there's a little bit of news coming out as well. So I might just stay clear for a little bit before making a decision of what I want to do. But yeah, so we'll leave it at that for now, and we'll see what happens. Hey guys, my network is kind of lagging at the moment. I'm not sure if it's showing on your end, so hopefully this doesn't screw me up too much. But I am looking to take a long here in a bit here on the NQ here. I just want to see how the 7 o'clock news candle digests before I make that decision. If we can hold here, I'm going to give it maybe another few seconds here to decide. Yeah, I was actually attempting to take a position earlier, but yeah, it just kind of froze. So I'm not really too sure what's going on. Could be my network, but um, I would have taken the longs already naturally because I really do like my double bottoms, and the fact that we held the double bottom above my area of interest, that would have been my entry. But because there was news at 7, I really just didn't want to take the risk. So now that we've seen our news candle hold, I'm looking to take longs now in this area. I'm just giving it a sec here. Just like to see how this 2 minute candle closes. Yeah, let's do it. So we've entered so far on a long. We'll see how this goes. That's 23,532. Just 532. Yeah, communicate to the chat here. Thank you. Entry 23,532 long. You guys will see that I do have some spots marked here. Um, so we'll see obviously kind of how the market trends here, or if we can continue to recover the grinding downtrend that we had over the course of the Asia and London session. Um, at 602, I have that yellow marker point, which, this is why this trade still kind of works in safety net for me because, we'll be able to take two off at least before then. But that 602 mark is a spot to watch for a rejection for me in any normal case, right? I think just in general, but I think that if we can get this continuation, we're looking good. I mean, right now, just to give you guys perspective, 2 minute double bottom would have been a pretty solid sniper entry. Again, 7 a.m. news gives you a little bit of diciness to want to do that. Um, but I do like that how the way that we've held. And then even after our 7 a.m. news candle, that did kind of have a little bit of a pullback on the small time frame, of course. We're holding pretty well. And so if you were a 15-minute orb trader, then we have retested the outer layer of the orb, which is kind of what you're looking for a pull-up. And then even on the 5 minute time frame right now, we put in some pretty solid bullish candles, bullish hammers. Our 15-minute candle as well, that kind of led into the news, was also a fairly strong candle. And right now, this current 15-minute candle is also holding fairly well. So again, if we put in another 15-minute bullish candle hammer here, I do think we have an opportunity to keep going and pushing forward. Um, and honestly, I don't want to anticipate things too much, right? But let's say we move our way up towards the yellow line at the 23,602 area, right? Usually on a smaller time frame, you might have a reason to either scale out of a position or maybe even close out your position completely. And that's totally okay. And I think that makes sense and that works. I think that depending on what you have left. So like if you've trimmed up most of your position and you've only got like one runner left, I probably wouldn't close it out there. I would let the trade play out. And the reason why I'm saying that right now is because like if we do make our way there in the next bit here, our 15-minute candle still looks super, super bullish, right? And especially coming out of an hourly close, it's been pretty strong as well. I would like to believe that yes, it's expected that we'll get a pullback at the 23,602 area, but that doesn't necessarily mean that our entire long thesis is broken. So again, I just provide some perspective. I'm gonna stay quiet now. I'm just gonna see how this trade plays out here. So yeah, action was so close to taking that first trim. But you know what I will say right now as well is I was just kind of typing this into the chat log. There's a few things to kind of think about as we're seeing how price reacts right now. Are we P&L focused right now? Are we focused on some arbitrary goal like, hey, you know what, I really want to hit this number so that I can get paid out or whatever it may be? And the last thing is, are you sized too high? Because if you're feeling anxiety right now through this trade, that is exactly very likely the reason why you're feeling what you are feeling at this moment. This is why it's important for us to understand that the process of what we do, the wax on, wax off, is super, super important to us and what is going to help us actually learn how to trade. because the emotions will cloud our judgment and it will cloud our ability to actually see the chart for what they're trying to tell us because we are so distracted by all the noise around us. So if this trade fails, then such is life. I think that's part of the factor. You take the notes and then you move on. But yeah, if you're like starting to micromanage a trade, move your stop loss every 10 seconds and move your targets every 10 seconds, then yeah, I think we're P&L watching. We've got arbitrary goals and we're probably sized too high, either some 1 or 2, 3 points or all the above. But those are just kind of my 2 cents at the moment. So far, right now, you can consider this a 15-minute orb retest. And a 5 minute failure to go lower as well, kind of testing what I had as a 23,51950 spot. Again, very arbitrary spot. It wasn't really that critical, but you can honestly look at that as a flip on the day because our opening candle earlier, this was the opening candle. This 2 minute spinning top doji basically retested the highs of the opening candle and excuse me, sorry, the 5 minute close also put in a 5 minute bullish hammer that tested that high from the opening. So that kind of gives you a little bit of a clue as well as to like, okay, we're looking like yes, we're getting pullbacks, which is fair, but it looks like we want to go higher, right? We're getting pullbacks because of some of the overnight session areas, those resistant areas that we looked at, right? Even up here, right? Like we technically this is an area where we kind of double topped over the Asia session. So if we can now that we're having this hold, that's a good signal. If we can break past that and retest for higher lows as well, then that's the most ideal, right? I also want to note that, I know sometimes a lot of us try to find the bottom tick or the top tick entry. I think that can also be a very arbitrary and toxic thought process to have. Again, trade what your system and your process looks like. Don't try to catch the bottom or the top of the trade just so that you can brag about the fact that you caught it, because that doesn't really those thoughts are very negligible in the end of the day. You can't take those thoughts to the bank, right? So it's just important for us to think about that as well. All right, there's the first trim here. So a touch of highs here, which is good. I liked that on the 5 minute time frame, just prior to the opening of this candle, we did close off another spinning top, but it was a more bullish one. So it kind of like overtook the prior bar. Again, it's when we think about price as a tug of war between buyers and sellers, you're essentially trying to read candles to understand what that candle is trying to tell you. What's the story that it's trying to tell you, right? This is why so many bigger traders out there speak so highly to price action and how most of them can trade with just price action alone and nothing else, no indicators or anything of the sort, right? And I think that probably just has to do with some of these guys have been looking and reading price for so long. It's just so much easier. I don't want to say easier. I don't want to cough that up to simplicity, but they have calibrated themselves to be able to read it better than most, right? And so for myself as a person who's, really only full time, maybe not full time is the right word, but like traded with like true conviction and like process and all that for the past 2 years, even though I've been dabbling in the market for 4 years. Um, I still use other things to help provide a little bit extra conviction, right? So I layer in things like if I'm going to be trading, I obviously will trade the levels, the price action, the structure, patterns, all that stuff, right? But I will also leverage indicators as a form of additional conviction. It will seldomly provide me the entry point, but what it will do is it will allow me to have a better picture of what the market's trying to do, and if we're trending or what have you, right? And I find that especially on trending days, indicators kind of help keep you in line as well to like check yourself. I just remembered a trade that it was a few years back. I was watching Stock Market Wolf trade live, and he held a certain position to a very high length, and a big part of that was because for his rule of just the 5 minute never close below the 9 EMA, right at the time. And so I just think that there's just lessons to be learned, and so many other factors and facets. We can have different strategies and different ways to go about trading. Um, I think that's the beauty about the craft and the art of it all is that you can find success trading in different ways, and you can still end up in similar outcomes, right? It's just trying to find a strategy that really fits your mold and fits you as a trader more than anything, that will assist you. All right, we are retesting the highs again. This is where we want the break to happen. So see if we can get it. The break and close above is important, is what we want to essentially look for. Part of me does want to actually move my target further because today just feels like one of those days that we might just grind, to be honest, up and up and up. Yeah, I don't know what to make of it right now. If we were to, we'd probably shoot it for like, it's like 3R, we would shoot draw. That would be about 52. What is it? That's where it would be, and I think that'd be a safe bet because then the next spot after that, you guys see if we can go closer and closer towards the next area of interest. So we'll see. We'll play this out. right, guys. I want to take the time to kind of go over this with you guys since obviously I was on the road and I think the recording probably got cut off somewhere. So, needless to say, from where the video left off, you can see that we did would have stopped out based on the way that the back half of the market finished today. But I did want to touch on that, right? Because again, you saw that I moved my stop loss up, and over the course of the series, I haven't really done that. I kind of, for the most part, just let it stop out at the negative that it would have been. But the reason why I adjusted this time, because as we're evolving this process, I do want to start showing like the different things that I would do. Because the reality is if I was trading my real account, I wouldn't just let my stop loss be where it is. I would move it based on the way the market's moving, and based on the market structure. And so where I moved the stop loss earlier was based on where I believe that if we were to breach that, market structure would flip a trend, which essentially we ended up doing, right? So I did get stopped out down here. And so if you had not caught the short entry here, which probably would have been the cleanest, you could have caught another one after the fact at the lower high anywhere down this trend line, right? Um, or even being able to capture the short over here, which would have been the flip from a support to resistance, right? So anyways, that you can see here, if you would have caught the short, would have caught a really nice move, depending on your entry, ranging between 60 to 90 points of a short trade. And you can tell here by the end of the day that all this move that we made, we basically ended up closing back where we opened up today. So for some people, this would basically look like a bar that really went nowhere. But nevertheless, it offered an opportunity for us to take the market, and I want to capture that. So, anyways, I am that much closer to getting funded on this Topstep account. $5 to $50 away. If I can get 2 more days like this, I'll get there. But a reminder, again, when we talk about discipline and arbitrary goals, let's not set any, right? Let the market tell us what's going to give us. We will take what it comes. And if we get there, then we get there. And if we don't, then we take longer. But that's fine. That's okay. Process over profits. And I can't emphasize that enough. Until next time, thanks for tuning in, guys. If this is your first time, like, subscribe. I'm going to try to continue to provide as much as I can for the group and the community. Thanks, guys. Catch you later.